Austin. Third first Camarena of the day. Oh, it's Rog, live from the outside courtyard of B.D. Riley's in the magical kingdom of Austin. Gotta say, I never feel more alive than when I'm in your wondrous kingdom. And I'm not just saying that because I'm drunk on barbecue sauce. By the way, I was at Terry Black's today, and I think there were more people in line at Terry Black's than have been at most of the Club World Cup games so far. I want to say I love your city. I love that the United States are about to descend upon here tomorrow with its breakfast tacos and endless variations of chili. Your city is the largest national exporter of McConaughey's to the world. You're giving us Willie Nelson. You're giving us the late, great Stevie Ray Vaughan. I believe Gary Clark Jr. somehow emerged from the earth fully formed. Austin has also become proper football. Got to mention last fall, UT Austin women's team won the SEC championship. Oh my God, school's first SEC title since it joined the conference. Hook 'em horns! May the US men's national team follow in their pathway. As we sit here, our boys, the USMNT, have just snapped a historically bad 4-game losing streak. We obliterated 2 teams at once, Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, they were a tomato can, but we didn't even have to exhume Jesus Ferreira to do it. And now, we face a sterner challenge. We're about to play Saudi Arabia, 58th in the world, under the leadership of that French Harlequin romance novel cover boy, Hervé Renard. You would though, wouldn't you? And to break it all down, and to take your questions live here tonight, it's a gent who I've long adored. He is a national treasure. We are on this journey with him all the way to the World Cup promised land. He played 142 times for the United States, scored a record number of goals for the men. He's the voice that American football fans lean forward in their seats when he opens his mouth to talk about this US team. He's a free-shooting maverick. He's a bolt of joy, bassmaster, fishing, football, family. It's a joy to welcome to a Texas stage the pride of Nacogdoches. Let's hear from Mr. Clint Dempsey!
What's up? Hey. Appreciate y'all.
America! Can I just say, Clint,
yes,
we are 4 hours away from Nacogdoches,
yes, sir.
The oldest town in Texas. How does it feel for you to be back here in your home state?
Man, it feels great. I mean, my parents are here. It's good to see my...
Let's hear it for Debbie and Aubrey Dempsey.
And Aubrey.
Real American legend.
Hey, they're the ones that believed in the dream. And my brother Ryan, his girlfriend Claudia. My boy Brendan, I see you.
This is honestly like Clint Dempsey's bar mitzvah that he never had.
Nah, it's great to be back in the home state. This is a state that made me. It's where I developed my game. I spend most of my time doing the club ball in Dallas, but anytime I'm in Texas and get to see family and be around fellow Texans, it's always great.
Can I say the highlight of my year was meeting Debbie and Aubrey Dempsey, just a pair of great Americans. We owe you a debt of thanks. When I told Clint that earlier, he said, you were the two who put the shift in. I mean, you should say it in your own words, Clint.
Yep.
It was beautiful what you said.
Yeah, they're the ones that believed in the dream. Nacogdoches, Texas, driving all the way to Dallas and trying to get the best coaching that you could. Those 3 hours one way, 3 hours back, twice a week, they added up. But, you know, I was blessed for the time that we had in the car and then the stories that we got to talk about.
let's get into it. Let's dive into the football. Before we do, I want to recognize this show is put together by our incredible friends at Camarena Tequila, world's most awarded tequila. Proud supporter of Men in Blazers and the beautiful game. I do want to raise my third first Camarena to all present and watching live along at home. This is a crazy time. It's the best of time for football. I'll just say it's the best of time, shall we? Let's leave it at that. I mean, the World Cup is less than a year away. Our team is not yet where we hoped and dreamed they would be. But I will say the energy in this room tonight and the energy of everyone watching along at home, that is what we want to bottle up. That's what makes us believe. That is what makes us dream. So I'm going to get our photographer, the great Big Dave, to come on up. Everyone raise your drinks. Clint and I are going to come and take a quick photograph, save a memory for all of us. Everyone up. Oh, let me go. Bears up! Oh, well. Amazing. Thank you. Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to get into it. Clint, tomorrow we play Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I've often said, we American fans, we have two emotional gears that we jackknife between. We're either like, we are so doomed, or we're like, why are we even playing the World Cup? Just give us the trophy now, Gianni. So where are you on this roller coaster between those two emotional poles?
Yeah, I'm optimistic about what we saw in the Trinidad game. It's good to get back to winning ways, especially after 4 defeats in a row. It's a good test for us to kind of see where our MLS league is and the Saudi league is, because that's pretty much what these two teams are made up of, whether it's the U.S. side with MLS or the Saudi side with the domestic players there. Everybody knows this first and second game in the tournament are always very important. If we're able to get the right result, it kind of guarantees you into that knockout stages, so maybe you can rest a few guys for that third game. But, hey, glasses half full, baby.
Hey. I love your idea that this is really just an MLS All-Star game tomorrow, going against a Saudi All-Star game.
I mean, pretty much, if you look at paper, that's what it is. It was sprinkled in a little, European players. But
it's like Messi against Ronaldo.
Exactly. We're gonna see which league's better.
You think in the locker room, like Diego Luna will be like, "Let's win it for Messi. Messi's depending on it." Hashtag Team Messi. Let's talk about the 5-0 game. I mean, it was some emotional cocktail. There were the empty seats, but there was a performance that we've all expected for a long time, and ultimately, for me, at the final whistle, we've been talking about it. It was just a huge relief to finally, after, a run of human darkness. I don't like to be hyperbolic. But at the same time, you talked about how this was the worst TNT team that you'd seen in a long time. There was a viewer at Evil Skeletor 1 who posted underneath our YouTube. He wrote, "Dude, they just beat Trinidad. I'm born and raised in Trinidad.
Oh.
Believe me, it's like a BMW beating a Corolla and thinking it's some kind of an achievement." God bless. Hello, Evil Skeletor. It's amazing to be in your presence. What do you think about that? I don't mean to put you on the spot and say, how do you respond to Evil Skeletor 1, Clint Dempsey?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those situations where you only can beat the team that's in front of you. You can't get around the fact that they were poor. That it's just, your eyes are not going to lie to you about that. But there was some positive we take from the game. It's good to see Diego Luna with 2 assists. Ajiman was able to get a goal. Even though Amai didn't know much about it, it doesn't matter how they go in, as long as they go in. It's good to see Haji Wright get on the score sheet. Malik Tillman opening up his count, getting 2 goals with the national team. And then Brendan Aronson, after 2 years of not scoring, getting back on the score sheet. So just kind of like what we talked about, show, I'm interested in seeing that battle for that number 9 position between Ajiman and Haji Wright. And then I'm curious to see Aronson, how he's going to react to maybe not getting the start in that first game. Does he push the fight to get into the lineup tomorrow? And, see this team start to get on a wave.
I love Clint's positivity. I want to tap into that energy. But for me, the highlight of my weekend footballingly was this. And I want to run a clip, my favorite goal of the weekend. And just to preface it, for those of you who don't know, Clint went to the mighty Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, hell. Oh, damn. Damn.
Okay, but
Hey, those are fake diamonds in there. That's some cubic zirconias from Claire's.
Look at this is early 2000 era Clint Dempsey. First thing, what look were you going for with that haircut, Clint?
Man, I was trying to save money on haircuts. I don't know what I was doing, if I'm being honest with you, but that's right after preseason. So that picture just, hey, I'm glad we're done doing all that running. Now it's time to start the league, start the season.
When I look at that photo, I think either America's greatest footballer all time or possible future guitar tech for Smash Mouth. But you made it in the football. And I want to say, you destroyed all comers in your college career. 17 goals, 62 appearances for the mighty Paladins. And this past weekend, you returned to the campus, to the Doug Allison Soccer Academy, your former coach. And, well, you let them know. Let's take a look. Look at this.
That's actually my son right there. Sorry about that. That was my other son getting up, dapping me up. Every now and then you gotta let them kids know you still got it.
So, for those of you who are listening to this, we just showed video of Clint last weekend scoring against 14-year-old kids at the Furman Academy. And by the way, I've obsessed over this clip as if it's Dubai chocolate. I love it so much. Especially because you dress so casually. It looks like you just ran on the field from flipping over some hot dogs on the barbecue. Can you tell us the story of exactly how you ended up on the field, the decision-making that went into your head as you took possession of that ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that every time I go down to camp, my kids really enjoy it. It's a chance for them to kind of like be away from the parents and kind of do their own thing. Because it's like an overnight camp. But every time I go there, Doug Allison's always like, hey, you got your boots with you? And I'm like, all right, yeah, I got them this time. You know what I mean? And he's like, maybe get you out there or something like that. So he wanted me to get out there, and I do what I do.
When you were a Bonner, was that just deliberate decision-making, or was it just muscle memory kicking in?
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I grew up playing pickup all the time. It's kind of like freestyle. You do what's given to you. Oh, I thought you were trying to dab me up.
No, I love that. No, I do. I think, by the way, the freestyle thing is what made
Yeah,
you.
you got to adapt to what's given to you. And then I'm someone who always kind of like to try extra stuff, try to be creative, and that's where it comes from. My love from South American style, Latin style soccer growing up.
Oh, God bless. Honestly, the seeds of American greatness are in there. But I will say, form is temporary. Class is permanent. Dads trying to school their kids is forever. And when I hear the thing about Doug Allison saying, did you bring your boots with you? Clint, if Mauricio Pochettino, you are listening to this, I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, Clint's in Austin tomorrow. Clint, did you bring your boots with you? One more time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this idea. By the way, I like this idea. Break the record. Let's do it. Watch out, Saudi Arabia. I mean, when I watch that, it is natural goal scoring ability, and it has been in the 2022 cycle. It's been like our ongoing flapping skin. You know, at the World Cup, we scored exactly 3 goals. One of those was off Christian Pulisic's down belows. By the way, I love that. After that, he goes, it wasn't off my testicles. Tell me, does that look like a man who was not just hit in the testicles? I don't know. But what is it about the way we develop players in America that we can't develop a reliable number 9? Is finishing something that we can coach, or is it natural?
I think it's both. I think you don't have enough kids playing freestyle like pickup or street soccer. Sometimes you can't be coached. You need to just be out there and try stuff. But at the same time, there's always, you can learn from someone about certain runs that you can make, how you can position your body. I understand the concussion protocol and not being able to head to a certain age, but They need to make sure they teach these kids how to head properly, using your forehead. And it's just such a tool on set pieces, corner kicks, crosses, and I just think it's kind of a lost art sometimes.
By the way, you told me something very funny. You said when you grew up, you were not a natural goal scorer. You just like to meg people.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love the most. I mean, watching Ronaldinho, Denilson, watching players like that take people on and meg them, you always want to talk trash to somebody. I mean, scoring goals was great, getting assists were great, but I don't think I realized until I got into the professional league that, like, that's how you make your money. If you're someone who puts the biscuit in the basket or helps create goals, that's how you're going to have a long career. So I kind of switched my mentality to trying to make people less and score more.
Some money, baby. Who was the best American striker that you played with?
I didn't play a lot with McBride for the national team, but with Fulham, I would say he was someone that I looked up to, especially doing position drills, kind of seeing the way that he would kind of position his body, what kind of runs that he would make, asking him questions. He was a big brother to me there. In terms of the national team, I got to show love to Eddie Johnson. He burst onto the scene. He was from a small town like myself. He was from Bunnell, Florida. I was from Nacogdoches. And we kind of came to the national team at the same time. And, you know, just the pace of which he had and how he could break lines, how he kind of would take people on, and the different ways that he could finish. He has to be up there in terms of the best strikers I played with the national team. And also would say Josie Altidore. The way that he would hold the ball up, I was more of like a withdrawn striker or an inverted winger where I would kind of play into them and do give and goes and stuff like that. And, you know, just the way that they were able to create and be dangerous for the team. So those are the three guys that kind of stand out to me when you ask that question.
Let's look at the game tomorrow. We're playing Saudi Arabia, guest team in this tournament. They're in this edition. They'll also be in the 2027 edition. I think if they lose all of their games, they immediately get permanent status in CONCACAF. It's largely a domestic squad from their fantasy football home league. Both teams, us, them, had a winning start. They beat Haiti 1-0, penalty. Quite lucky, actually. Haiti are not a bad team. Last time we played them, 2022, it was our last game before the World Cup. Bit of a damp squib, 0-0. Now they've got the dashing Hervé Renard as their coach. And we're going into this one with that echo of the Pulisic distraction still kind of reverberating. Mauricio Pochettino followed up his kind of primal scream, "I'm a head coach, not a mannequin," with that 5-0 win against TNT. We needed that win. We really needed that win. And he said post-game this, he said, quote, "I am looking for the players who fight for you and die for you." I mean, first of all, when we approach his 12th game of his era, what grade are you giving Mauricio Pochettino in terms of where he is and where we expected him to be?
I mean, I think it's a little bit too early to give him a grade right now, if I'm being honest. I mean, the way in which we were going to grade him is how they do in the World Cup, truly, because that's what he's brought in to try to do something special there. He's still in his kind of figuring out stage to see what's going on. You got to think, the players that he's taken over, there's a reason why Berhalter was fired. Some of those players weren't getting the job done. He has to go in and kind of sort things out. What he's starting to see, though, I think from January camp, is certain players like Ajiman and Diego Luna. Those are guys that he can count on. Those are guys that are fighting for him. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm a coach, I want those type of players. And you see him building up Malik Tillman, saying he's one of the most skillful players that he has in camp. And when you got a coach that believes in you and has your back, it makes you want to run through a brick wall for him. So he's in the process of building these guys up. He's trying to find who are these players that are going to break into the roster for this next World Cup, and who are the players that are going to ship out. So still, you got to look at what he does in Gold Cup, but I think the main test is going to be the World Cup and how they do in the group. If they don't get out of the group, it's a failure.
So the good news is we've got those midfield clench fists. Johnny Cardoso, Tyler Adams back in training yesterday. Can we just hear it for Tyler Adams? I just want to say, to me, he's the captain that this nation needs in every single way. But Clint, I want to ask you, culture change is really hard with this international football team.
Yeah.
You've lived it.
Yeah.
You know, a new manager coming in, new ideas, new, slogans, new training, new pathways. You lived that with Jurgen Klinsmann.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to the early days of that era? What were they like from the inside? What were his messages? And internally, how long did it take for you all to adapt?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about on the last show, when you come in, he gave everybody a number depending on what position they were, and it was kind of like you had to earn your number and figure out what that was going to be. And anytime someone new comes in, no one's going to get off to a great start right away. It takes time to earn respect. I mean, if you're a new player going into a team, you have to, there's like initiations, you got to stand up, joke, sing, make fun of yourself, and then being a rookie, you got to carry balls, you got to move goals, you got to pick up cones. Like, you have to earn your respect on any team that you're a part of, and it's the same when you have a coach or if you're one of the top players. You got to know that you can count on each other, you can step up in big moments, and I think once we had some of those tests in World Cup qualifying where our backs were against the wall, we had must-win games at home that we needed to get the job done. I think that's when Jurgen was able to look to the left and right and say, hey, I can count on Jermaine Jones. He's going to get stuck in. I can count on Clint. He's going to get me a goal in a moment where our backs are against the wall. So that's the type of things that you need to happen for a team to kind of come together.
I mean, Poch is clearly auditioning for his guys who know that they are Poch's people, who will fight for him. I mean, his own words, fight and die. He's kind of sifting for those dogs. And an international coach always had his guys. I spent a lot of time around your 2014 team. Who did you think internally under Jurgen? Who were Jurgen's guys?
I mean, some of the people that led by example, I mean, Jermaine Jones. He was going to get stuck in. He was going to run all over the field. I like to think that he thought that I was one of his guys. I mean, he made me captain for a reason. Even though I never saw myself as the rah-rah guy. I was more someone who led by example as well. And then you had guys like Tim Howard. That's every game in and game out. You knew what you were going to get from him, and those are some of the people that kind of stood out to me. But that's a question for Jurgen.
By the way, Jermaine Jones, an amazing man. I remember living with the team because I was making the Hard Knocks, the behind-the-scenes film for that. And Jermaine Jones, the first interview he did when Jurgen was auditioning all of the German Americans. Jermaine Jones was laughing. He's like, all these guys are turning up with like freshly inked American flags on their arms to show that they're really into it. And I was like, yeah. And then a week later, there was another camp, and Jermaine Jones turned up with that on his kneecap. I love that man. I do. I miss him something terrible in every regard. But in terms of the guys who are defining themselves as Poch's guys, I mean, we've started to hint at them, and we've talked a lot over the past 2 weeks together about the great Diego Luna. I mean, when you think about a footballer who's starting to use this audition to make himself undeniable, step one, unleash your own signature look. 1920 silent movie vaudeville villain. Step two, hustle, take chances, give your all on every single play. And then step three, shoot on sight. I mean, more of this. Herc Gomez said on his show, he said, Diego Luna's succeeding in working his ways into fans' hearts because he is so relatable to them. Do you agree?
I agree with that 100%. The thing about Diego that I like is he got a nose for the game. Perfect example for that. Yeah, it's funny. Hey, we both broke it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're broken nose brothers. But seriously, in the Trinidad game, knowing that the defender was getting his head down, playing it back, he was able to sniff that out, pick the pass off, but also keep cool, calm, and collected, make the pass to Tillman, and get the goal. Other thing I like about him, he fights hard, he presses, he tries stuff. He's not someone that is afraid to, do a drag scissor or chop somebody up or do behind the leg pass. That's the things that you kind of need. You need to mix up your game, and you need to kind of keep the other team off balance. So those are some of the things that stood out to me. And also what stands out is when times are darkest, light shines brighter, and he's one of those lights.
Amen. There's times, I'm going to tell you, Clint Dempsey is like the greatest biblical preacher. That was one of those times. And by the way, I'm not a very religious man, but in that moment, I'm like, I will follow you anywhere, Clint. The other guy I want to talk about quickly is Malik Tillman. 2 goals for the US against TNT. 23 years old. You know, we've seen him star for PSV, back-to-back titles, but he's often looked anonymous when he pulls on our jersey. He said something really interesting post-game. He said how good it feels to know in this squad that he's got a clear pathway to starting. And I thought about that. You know, we don't often understand that. What's the difference between knowing you're going to get maybe 20, 15 minutes as a substitute, a cameo, and knowing that you're going to be a starter? How does that change your whole mindset and your very impact on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're a starter, you kind of feel that the coach respects you and got your back. Also, getting goals. I mean, there were certain stages throughout my career when I scored, I kind of felt that I belonged. And I think that's what he's feeling right now. You saw what he did at PSV, how well he plays, and the swag that he has when he plays over there. And now getting those 2 goals, it's kind of like, all right, I'm doing my thing. And he can get that confidence, and you can see more of like his true talent that he has, and he can start to express himself. Because it's always different when you're someone that's coming into a team and maybe a little bit new to try to fit in. And I think now he's kind of taking that opportunity with both hands of having some of the other players that are out, and has a chance to really step up and be one of the biggest players for us in this Gold Cup.
God, I mean, Pochettino said after his 2-goal game, this is a quote. He said, "Tillman is a talented player, one of the most talented players I think that we have in the United States of America." I want to ask you, what's he saying there? He's both bigging up the player, making him feel great in the way you said, but is he also sending a message to the players who are not here, where Tillman may be ranked in his depth chart, almost telling them, you know what, you're all replaceable?
For sure. I mean, everything is calculated when it comes from a coach in terms of how he can get the best out of his players. And you got to build up the players that are there that are fighting for you, and then you also got to make the players that are not in, hey, it's next man up. And you being out of the team is just kind of like being injured or not having the opportunity to play. Someone else can come in and take your spot. And that's any team that I've been a part of, the best teams that I've been a part of, is you always kind of feel like you could be on the chopping block. And if you don't play well in training, then you're not going to get into the starting lineup. So if you can create a culture through training that there's always a chance to fight to get into the starting lineup, and the roster is just not set from the start, those were the best teams I was a part of.
God. To that future, I want to talk very quickly about past World Cups, because this week, it's hard to believe, was the 15th anniversary of this. World Cup 2010. USA wins 1-1. I mean, a draw that felt like a win. I mean, that for so many of us here, for me, I mean, this was an indelible moment for US soccer, going eye to eye with England in South Africa, first group stage match. You were taking the field with this US team against an England of Frank Lampard, John Terry, Wayne Rooney.
Stevie G.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you this serious question? When you take the field against that, is your mind locked in on winning, or do you feel any fear?
No, you're locked in on winning. You know you're playing against the best, and that's what you signed up for. If you're in the World Cup, you want to play against the best. You want to see where you stack up against people. And you have players that have won Champions League, won the Premier League, and you have a great opportunity to see kind of what you're made of. And we represented ourselves well. We conceded early. We got back into the game. And to be fair, we could have won the game if we had some chances toward the end that didn't go our way. So to get a draw against them with the caliber players that they had, it was a huge point, especially in the first game, because if you lose your first game in a World Cup, it's difficult to get out of the group.
You've told a very, very, very broad story there. I want to narrow it down to a particular moment. England did get off to a fast start. You mentioned Steven Gerrard, who you all know. Look at you all. The Saudi Arabian coaching legend, Steven Gerrard. 4 minutes into the game, he opened the scoring. But then, guys, if you can't hear at home, they're singing the Stevie G Slip song quite beautifully. One of my friends. It's beautiful. It's a very, I mean, I don't know. It's just like epic Greek poetry lived out in real time. Who says that there are no more epic Greek poems? Homer could not have written a better story. But this is not about Stevie G, because just before half-time, 40-minute mark, the ball drops to you. You pull back your left foot. The BBC said the shot barely merited the label of speculative. I think in England, the cameraman didn't even follow the shot. They missed it. Talk about what went through your mind when you pulled your foot back. How did you live that moment, Clint? 'Cause it's incredible.
I mean, first of all, I said I had to chop up Stevie a few times to get the shot off. And appreciate y'all. I mean, my mentality was always empty the clip. Got to get some shots off every game. It wasn't the best shot, but the thing about those Jubilani balls, you hit them, different things would happen than normal. So if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you'll never win. So honestly, to be real with y'all, throughout my career, there wasn't a lot of lucky goals that I had, and I felt like that was the most lucky, and it almost felt like it was my sister helping me out. You know what I'm saying? I had a sister pass away. Honestly, that's what I felt on that goal, that it was like there was some help. So for me, that was a special moment. I showed love to her. And then another player I played with named Victor Rivera, if you ever saw me throw up to 13, he passed away as well. I played high school ball with him. So I feel like maybe that was the little luck they helped me with. So.
Very hard to follow that up. It really is. I mean, every goal is more than a goal. The best moments of football is when all of humanity is represented in it. And you hear about this goal, like a hilarious goal, a goal, a hilarious moment. You think of Rob Green, that is the moment of his career. But then you hear about your side, you hear about the humanity, you hear about the story behind the story, the pain, the loss, the agony, the joy, the wonder. All of human life is engaged in that goal. I just want to raise a glass to you, to your sister's memory, to your mum and dad. Does a goal against England count double when you play in the Premier League?
It felt like it. To be honest with you, playing in the Premier League, knowing that we were going to play against England, all the trash talk that you get in the locker room, having a manager that was English, coming out and said when I had a knee injury that he thought it was an ACL before I even went to the hospital. I was only out for 8 weeks, came back, had the chip against Juventus. But you best believe I had a chip on my shoulder and wanted to prove something, especially against the league in which I played in, and let him know that a boy from the States could play against England.
So I was telling you, the injury Clint has was actually a severed leg, but he was only out for 8 weeks. That is Clint Dempsey. My favourite commentary of the goal came from a Reddit thread. A disappointed England fan wrote, "We should have pounded them." And then an American went, instead we dollared you. I do want to hit this on very quickly. I want to get to your questions in 1 second. But Tim Howard told a story about South Africa. He said the players are incredibly bored every day in camp. But he said the happiest human being in the complex, he said, we'd see Clint every single afternoon, quote, posted up in a lawn chair and camouflage bucket hat, just fishing.
All right. First of all, I wasn't in a lawn chair. I walk around the pond when I fish. I don't stay sitting. But yeah, I mean, caught a few fish, but I actually had a real big carp on, and I foul hooked it. I was trying to bring it in right at the bank it got off. I was wanting to show everybody, because everybody was always talking trash. Like, what the hell you doing? You ain't catching nothing. You suck, blah, blah, blah. I was about to come back with a big carp and let them know what's up. But for me, it was always like my happy place. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, but my favorite vacations was going to Sam Rayburn, going to Powell Park and camping out there with my family. And we'd go fish in the morning, inner tube and stuff during the day, and in the evening do a little bit of fishing and ride around on our bikes. So fishing always kind of reminded me of home and reminded me of kind of getting away and smelling the roses.
God bless. By the way, had you landed that big carp,
Oh, I'd have been talking trash. I'd have been up there.
Where would it rank with the GOAT?
I mean, I don't know about that. A largemouth bass ranks a little higher than a carp, but there's nothing better than scoring in the World Cup. And for me, 2006, that's what I dreamed about as a kid. And I knew after I scored that goal against Ghana and Germany that I could die a happy man. So
I want to get to your questions, but I will say when I watched that goal again, the 2010 feeling that we all had, those of us who lived it, the 2014 feeling. I remember watching the 2014 experience, and thinking to myself, we are unstoppable. What we are building in America is inevitably going to climb and climb. I remember feeling sad for England, thinking, oh, you're on the downwards elevator. And football, the joy of it is that it reminds you that you know nothing. That is the joy of football. What an idiot you are constantly. We had the sucker punch of 2017. Yep. We had the damp squib of the second Greg Berhalter era. And here we are in this current moment of hope and fear in equal measure. Clint, I do want to ask you, where's it gone wrong in your mind? Where did all that energy, the 2010, the 2014, for all of us who lived it, where did it go, and how do we get it back?
Well, for me, as go from 2010 to 2014, you had a lot of the same players there. There was too many Olympic qualifications that we didn't qualify for. There wasn't enough youth coming up to kind of push the older players, iron sharpened iron, and have that maybe a better mix or better blend of like younger and older players. And even if we'd have qualified for the World Cup in 2018, it always kind of felt like we were just putting a Band-Aid on the situation. And then you have where you just completely clean house, you bring in these young guys, and it's almost like we're having a little bit of that going on right now, of like, who are these young guys that are pushing these other guys that now kind of have more experience? Because a lot of the guys going into the last World Cup, it was their first World Cup, majority of the team. Now you got players that at least have a World Cup under the belt, but who are these other guys that are going to push them and make this team a better team? So right now I'm looking forward to seeing what happens from the Gold Cup, but that's where it went wrong in our youth development and not having enough, I think, creative attacking players that were scoring goals, because goals is what you need. So, and now you look at it, you don't have that consistency in goal either, like we had with Brad Friedel, Casey Keller, and Tim Howard.
And by the way, I did ask Tim earlier today. I said, if you could take one human being from that 2010 squad and insert themselves in our 2025 version, and you said
Tim Howard. You know what you're going to get. You knew what you were going to get day in and day out, and he was going to be one of the best shot stoppers in the world, and you need that to have a chance in games.
Okay, we got this Gold Cup. I want this to be a Gold Cup of opportunity. I want this to be an opportunity where we wake up, where we identify that new array of talent, that base of the pyramid that can create new options, challenge the, almost the complacency. I just say to better days ahead tomorrow night here in Austin. That's ultimately what I hold on to after hearing you tonight. But now is the time. We are going to take some questions from this very handsome audience. Are you ready? Are you ready? This is the best part of the night. We are going to take your questions, Austinites. We're going to give you the microphone. You can ask Clint and I anything you want about US football, about life, and by life I mean bassmouth fishing. We will bring the mic to you. Just stand up, say your name, tell us where you're from and what your question for the mighty Clint is.
I'm Craig. I'm from Austin, originally from Dallas-Fort Worth area, Arlington. Big shout out.
Sir.
Clint, Mr. Dempsey, it's an honor. You're a true legend of USA football. Raj, cheers. We're in enemy territory here as Toffees, up the Toffees. But the question is, as a bit of a frustrated USMNT fan,
Yep.
and maybe a frustrated father of a aspiring youth soccer player, I always hear that the youth soccer system in this country is broken, right? I've heard that a lot, like growing up. So maybe you could explain, we're 5, what does it mean that it's broken? What are other countries doing better? And is there hope for us to fix it? I won't ask you to rap, okay?
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to, but yeah.
I mean, that's a tough question to answer, but I think it's a situation where, at least with some of the MLS clubs now, you're seeing a situation with the academies where it's not pay to play, which is great to see. But it hurts players in rural areas and inner cities that are not close to MLS teams. But also, I think it's important that you figure out the reason why you love the game and try to watch tape of that. Figure out what are the players that you aspire to kind of be like, and then go and be in environments where you can express that skill set, right? Like, go to pickup, go play street ball. For me, go play Hispanic League, get knocked on the ground. I mean, I remember as a freshman playing in Sunday League. I played high school ball, I played club ball. So I think another issue that you run into in terms of club ball, you got to earn something. You shouldn't be given just to be in a league because you're with a certain club. I remember being in Dallas, you had to play in a tournament to get into Classic League. And if you didn't do well in Classic League, you went down to Classic 2. Didn't do good in Classic 2, you went down to Select. If you wanted to be in Dallas Cup, you had to win Classic League. You know what I'm saying? Or you had to win State Cup. Like, I think it needs to get back to doing those type of things to earn, to play in certain competitions. And I feel like we've overcomplicated things with the ECNL and the MLS Next and the DA. And shoot, I mean, that's like a Rubik's Cube. I don't know how to decipher through all of that as a parent myself. So I don't have the perfect answer for you, but I think you got to earn things. And I think that the pay to play, it does hurt stuff, but still, you got to make it by any means. And me and my parents, we figured out a way.
I mean, I just say that, Wayne Rooney used to come on the show, and he always used to say that, great football comes from working class origins. And he was always shocked how suburban the game was. He's like, you will never be good when you've only conquered the suburbs in America. And the reality is, I hear you, Clint, talk about the joy of street ball. There's so much over-coaching here. Like, football is not just about coached realities. It is about the learning to love the game. You speak to Mesut Ozil. He came on and talked about learning to play just street ball, street ball, street ball. Bukayo Saka, Eberichi Eze, street ball, street ball, street ball. Just enjoying themselves, just learning their skills, but self-teaching. We don't have a lot of that. And it creates a very pragmatic footballer, but not a very creative one. We did a study. The last thing we had, number one, we had Andre Villas-Boas on the show, Porto, on Saturday, talking about how Portugal, 10.5 million, just pumps out world-class player after world-class player, and we're like still praying to, have a trickle of world-class talent. And he did say, America's massive. That's the big difference. He's like, Portugal is small. We have an area that we can like hyper focus on. One of our strengths, the size of this nation, is probably the greatest challenge. But I will say, we did a study, 2010. I did it with an economist who was at Harvard. And we looked at the MLS, we looked at the NBA All-Star team, the NFL All-Star team, and then the US men's national team, which was essentially like the All-Star team at the time. We looked at them over 20 years. And the NFL and the NBA were so working class, it was amazing in America. I mean, the zip codes just demographically. And the USMNT it's less now, but it still is, the net worth, the suburban reality, everything about it. And it's working out how to recruit, scout, coach in underserved areas that will change the game in this nation. And we're getting to grips with it, but we still have some way to go. And to that future is all I will say. I will say I was on a field with Tyler Adams 2 weekends ago in Yeadon, Pennsylvania, where he set up a mini field. And it was amazing to watch, just 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds training with him on this field. You project that future forward for America. That's what I want to tap into and believe it is the next wave. Next question. Tell us your name and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Glad to have y'all at our Liverpool Supporters Club. My question is, if the U.S. men's national team were a Premier League club, who would they be? And why are they the Spurs?
Oh, damn.
Katie, you got to do me not just once with the Liverpool. Welcome to the Liverpool Supporters Club. I thought I was in Austin, and then you got to take out Spurs, who are the Everton of the South. If the United States were a Premier League team, who would they be?
That's a tough one. Hey, what team has a lot of injuries?
Tottenham.
There we go.
Tottenham.
Hey, Pochettino used to coach Tottenham.
There you go. You know what? I will just say.
Okay.
There you
we
are.
go.
They're not a Premier League club yet. I've got to tell you. I don't mean to spoiler alert the next series of Welcome to Wrexham, but they're not yet a Premier League team. I would just say I think you've already answered it, and I love Clint's analysis.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
you know why? You know, I say it. You think I'm saying it from a negative standpoint? I think also he's someone that can take a team and take them to the highest level. Right? He got Tottenham to the Champions League final. He got Tottenham to almost winning the Premier League. So there's still some glimmer of hope there, right? There's still some great things that can happen. So sometimes you gotta go through the struggle to take one step back, take two steps forward.
I mean, I would just say, in all seriousness, right now I do think that the United States are the Everton of CONCACAF, in that we have been through a darkness, we have suffered. We have reveled in micro crumbs of joy and savored every single second. But the honest truth is, we have new owners. We have a new stadium. We have a new energy. We have belief again. We have dreamed. We have yearned. We have suffered. But I do believe glory, not unlike your Spurs, despite the darkness. I do believe this. There's a Wolves' maxim is out of darkness cometh light. And I always, again, football, the human truth in football is the best truth. And I think ultimately the Spurs example, like pain, agony.
They won
Spurs,
a trophy too this year.
They won a
Put some
trophy.
respect on it. They won a trophy.
And all I will say, we can lose 4 on the run at home. We can suffer.
Hey, we might win a trophy Gold Cup.
We might win the World Cup.
There we go.
Can I just tell you? We just might win the World Cup, says Roger, trying to be the ultimate hype man. Next question.
I'm Gilbert from Josephine, Texas.
Amen.
Raj Courage,
Hello, big
Clint, Captain America, General Texas. As I sit here on this beautiful evening in Austin, Texas, with all these people in U.S. national team jerseys, I see bomb pops, I see seat belts, I see the denim. There's probably some Where's Waldo's, but I can't find them. So I have to ask you, Clint, what effect, if any, does a good, bad, or horrendous kit have on national team morale or performance?
Hey, that's a good question. Hey, like Dion said, if you look good, you feel good, you play good. But yeah, seriously, you know, you want to feel comfortable. You want to look at something and be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm looking forward to putting that on. The only thing I'll say about some of the jerseys that we had, or the one that I disliked the most, is when they had those sleeve socks. I hated those sleeve socks, man.
Which jersey did you hate the most?
Oh, hate the most? Let's be positive. Let's talk about what we love the most. I like the bomb pop the most. Bomb pop. I like that Centennial one too that we had. I think that's dope. That's a dope. I like how simple it is, but you know what I'm saying? It also has some swag to it.
It does. I love the Centennial jersey. Can I just say, sir, it looks beautiful on you. When I turned 30, my wife told me to stop wearing football jerseys. She told me they added 40 pounds in 20 years. But it looks very good on you, sir. I just say, I think jerseys are amazing. Like the 1994 team, when they unveiled that jersey, they told the story of how they were mortified, humiliated, embarrassed. They were sickened in the room, like genuinely. They were just like, we cannot go. We love that jersey now. We adore that. I mean, like, there you are, sir. You look amazing. And the reality is, And jerseys ultimately are retrospectively judged by the memories you experience when you watch the team play in it. We love the bomb pop because, my God, we love that. We love that campaign. It was a campaign of hope and wonder and joy. But I do think there's an inextricable retrospective Monday morning quarterbacking of jersey design. And whatever they've just unleashed upon us, whatever you think now, just hold your judgment until the end of the cycle. And please God, we will say it was the greatest jersey the United States men have ever worn. Next question.
Hey, Raj, Clint, Eric Shawwicker, originally from Birmingham, Alabama, Austin, Texas, by marriage. Clint, can't sing your praises enough. I was there in Houston, 2016 Copa America semifinal against Argentina.
Yes, sir.
You were the epitome of what we hope every American player can be, fearlessly going at possibly the best team in the world at that time. And just want to give you absolute shout out for your fearlessness and combativeness.
Appreciate you.
Switching gears a little bit, in celebration of the EPL fixtures being released today, and here at the beautiful Liverpool Supporters Club, and our president, Steve Wilson, back there. My question is, the recent influx of American ownership into the Premier League has been quite drastic, and just wanted to see if you guys have any idea of what you think the lasting impacts may be to Americans now taking over a lot of the ownership.
I think there'll be an all-star game within the next 3 years, probably. I mean, ultimately, it's incredible. It is like the untold story of English football in the moment, is that we're about to enter the American era. This is what we are charging into. There will soon be vast majority Premier League teams with American owners where they'll have the vote to do whatever they want. I mean, the owners I know are trying to understand. The best, smartest American owners know what they don't know and have learned pretty quickly. Like you look at Tom Werner and John Henry with Liverpool Football Club. Like they pretty quickly worked out, you know, they made mistakes early, but they worked out how to evolve. And they do realize the gap between the local and the global is the biggest challenge to Premier League's future. Like ultimately, Todd Burley coming into Chelsea, trying to turn it into a content machine globally. Like he has a fan base who go to every game. They travel, they go everywhere. They've lived with that team for multi-generations. And balancing that tension between the two is the greatest challenge for any owner. So like from my perspective, for the American owners, they have to understand what they do own. But ultimately, they will soon have a monopoly. It will evolve. Football, the tectonic plates are shifting under it, and it is going to be fascinating. We've moved from the oligarchs to the nation states, but ultimately, I mean, it's the equity investors, almost all of whom are in the United States, who will run the future of the game. And when you speak to them, you know, you speak to them about American sports, there's no relegation. And in England, they laugh at that. That's not sports. But ultimately, when you speak to every single American owner, as soon as their team is in the Premier League and you offer them the choice of no more relegation, they would bite your arm off for that in every regard. So that's what's fascinating. And then the other side is, you know, the FIFA want to start playing games in America. They are doing now. UEFA want to play the Champions League final in America. And as soon as that happens, it's like wonderful. We get to watch a Champions League final in New York City and MetLife. It's terrible for the European fans. By the way, MLS will be eaten alive almost instantly because everybody will be playing over here and everything is all off. So that ecosystem is very much about to change. There's a lot of checks and balances that can be blown through. Right now, I can tell you, no one's really thinking it through. There's not great strategic thinking. So I do pray that every American who is buying into everything they're buying into truly understands the soul of the sport and preserves that even as they grow the game, is all I will say. It's a very heavy answer, not really in the spirit of the evening, but it's probably the most important question there is. And I just want to say thank God, God bless you, the Freakins of Houston. The greatest owners in sport. I'm not just saying that because I'm an Everton fan. I'm just saying that objectively. We'll take a couple more questions and then we'll rock it.
Nate here from Austin, Texas. Thank you guys for joining us. Raj, thanks for joining us in enemy territory. Clint, we know you could have been a Red, but that's what the internet rumors say.
Yep.
So who's the non-American who plays most like an American? Like a player you see and you think, are we sure they're not from Hershey, Pennsylvania or Nacogdoches, Texas?
Have you watched a non-American player and thought, bloody hell?
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but who was like the big striker for Germany that was like, was it Guther? How do you pronounce his name?
Jürgen Klinsmann.
No. I'm talking about the I need Google right now. But it was like it was I think did he play at Dortmund and then he played for Bundesliga? What's up? No, I'm not talking about someone who was like the top level. I'm talking about he just kind of came into the national team recently.
Was it
Yeah. That's the one. What they said.
Nicholas Fulker? I thought you meant Gio Reyna. I was excited for a moment. I was like, I got some news for you. He's one of
I
ours.
mean, that's he reminded me like, you know, American side player. You know what I'm saying? He like gets stuck in. It wasn't silky smooth, but kind of got the job done. So
The most American, non-American footballer that I have ever seen is probably.
it's a hard question.
I know. Every Everton player I've ever seen in my life is genuinely flashing before my eyes. It's currently Beto, to be candid. Like,
That's a good shout, Cahill.
who?
Cahill.
Oh, Tim. That's an incredible shout, Tim. By the way, that is it. Every Everton. I mean it.
That's
like
the best shout.
Everton fans know the team is like as individual parts. Okay, not great. But when you put them together, they can biblically smite anyone. And Tim Cahill, who was like 5'6", but scored historic number of goals with his head. Desire, tenacity, ferocity, unwillingness to be denied, is undoubtedly the most American player that never non-American, to be candid. Respect, huge love. One more question, let's do it, bud.
Evening, gents. Mike from Austin. I'd just like to say thank you for both of you, both Raj and Clint, for spreading U.S. soccer and our image throughout the world. It's been great. My question is the World Cup truly the only event that can move the needle for interest in U.S. soccer?
Whoa.
I don't think it's the only event, but I think it's the event that moves the needle in the States for every 4 years, right? And then we got to figure out a way to move the needle more often, right? So having Messi here in MLS, he is the needle. So having more Copa Americas, I think, moved the needle. But on the outside world, the needle's always moving for the game of soccer. I think we need to do a better job of here in the States of having that happen every year. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's enormous. I think it's seismic. I mean, we had the Copa here. It was a strange tournament. The Club World Cup is a very odd beast. I think the World Cup, speaking to the organisers across the nation who are working so hard at the moment to pull this thing off, I think it's a tidal wave. I lived the '94 World Cup. It changed everything. It was meant to change football overnight. It didn't. It's taken 25 years. I believe we're all the better for it because it's slow, steady, deep, grassroots, passionate, deeply informed, deeply committed instead of being an overnight fad. So I think this is going to be seismic. I think it's going to be massive. I'll say something controversial. I think it will be massive whether the US go 3 and out or whether the US go deep into the tournament. Like, that's how massive this World Cup is going to be. It's going to be joyous, glorious, the biggest circus. I think it's going to be wonderful. And I think it's going to be, please God, the thing that makes all of our dreams come true in every way. And then the Women's World Cup coming back in 2031 will finish the job. I've got to say one quick thing. There's a fan at the back in a red shirt who's had their hand up the whole time. I want to get this person a microphone to close the show because I'm exhausted watching you, the energy you put into trying to ask a question. So let's get him a mic and we can rock it and then we'll close the show. But this one, it's going to be the bomb. Remember-
Also after him is the girl in the pink right there.
Okay, two
She's
more
had her hand
questions.
the whole time as well.
Here we go, we're coming. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what's your question for Clint?
I'm Declan, and I'm from Texas.
There we go.
What was your best goal?
Mine or Clint's?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I touched on it earlier. I wouldn't say it's the best goal in terms of the quality of it. It's the best goal in terms of the importance of it for me. And my whole life as a kid, because of the '94 World Cup and watching players like Diego Maradona play in the 1986 World Cup on VHS and stuff like that, international football was always kind of what I saw at a young age and the passion that they had for it. So it's like, hopefully one day I could represent my country and play in a World Cup. And I got that opportunity in 2006 in the last game against Ghana in the group stage. If we won that game, we go to the next round. Beasley was able to cross the ball, and as it's bouncing to me, I'm hitting it as hard as I could. And just the feeling of scoring that goal, you feel like you could run through a brick wall. And you know all the sacrifices that you and your parents made and your family made was all worth it, because that was the moment I prayed about, and I finally had that moment come true. The girl in the pink.
Yeah, can I
Last one, the girl in the pink.
Can I say, well, we get a microphone over here. One of the things I've learned to love about Clint is that when he lives these moments, good and for bad, the good moments and the painful moments, he loses himself in that moment completely and utterly. I mean, as we'll keep discussing together, moments of greatness, moments of great pain, when we talk about them, my God, you are right there in them as if they happened yesterday.
I wouldn't be good at poker. I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
I'll just say before you speak, it's so lovely to have your mum and dad here with you tonight again, as you talked about all of this. We don't take it for granted.
Oh, she didn't want it?
She got stage fright.
Oh, it's okay.
But she wanted to say her daddy's name is Clint too. And he
Okay.
played soccer too, and you're
There
my
we go.
favorite player. But she wanted to know what your favorite color was. You want to say? What's your name?
Ruby.
Oh.
Oh,
Good question. Good question.
that's an incredible.
That's a great question.
It's an incredible
Favorite
question.
color. I do like red. I have three. Actually, I have three favorite colors. It's red, black, and white. It should be just red, white, and blue, but if I'm being honest with you, I've always loved red, black, and white, and those were the colors of Fulham.
There you go. Way to land the story. I like pink, Dewey. I like pink very much, and you are super cool, and we are so lucky to have you and your dad here tonight. All Clints are welcome. Pink. I love pink. I love a pink shirt.
It looks like you left some denim.
What? What? It's only, by the way, it's only 96 degrees here.
Man,
It's
he's wearing a Canadian tuxedo, man. What's going on?
It is.
I told him he's like the original Mario level 2. Denim.
It is a Canadian tuxedo. I am wearing it in honor of Jesse Marsh. But this is not about Canada. I want to end with two questions tonight. We're going to have a drink with you in one moment. But I want you to crystal ball tomorrow night for me. Tell us, what do you think the score is going to be tomorrow night against this, please God, not so good Saudi B team?
I predict 2-1. We're going to win 2-1. Let's see.
To us or them?
Us, for sure. We're winning. Hey, I'm not betting against my team.
I got to say, we've got to
All
find a way.
gas, no brakes.
I have the same score. I believe we will find a way tomorrow. Each step, a move from the upside down to a better place. Talking about better places, let's finish with a real stumper for you, Clint Dempsey. Want to end with some joy. I've wanted to ask you this since we started taping the Deuce. If we were going to build, I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but I want to know exactly who's on it first. If we were going to build a Mount Rushmore of US men's soccer, whose big old heads would you be carving on it and why?
So that's a tough question. It's
For Clint.
nah. It's tough to pick players that you didn't play with to truly know how good they were or not, to kind of test yourself against them. But in terms of the players that I played with and what I saw from them in the game, I would say Tim Howard. I would say that me and this person don't always see the game the same, but I'd say Landon Donovan. Raj says you got to pick yourself, so. I'm only putting myself in there because Raj said so. And then, even though he's young and still has time left, I got to show love to my little bro, Christian.
No one's asking me about mine, but I will tell you. Mine would be Clint Dempsey. I always got to go Tony Meola just because. And then 2 Kyle Beckermans.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh.
Maybe Clint and 3 Kyle Beckermans when I think about it.
Oh.
I won't stand for you. I won't stand for your Kyle Beckerman hatred here, man. I'm sorry, I've got to draw a line. I don't like to engage with hecklers, and I also don't like to fight guests. But I got to say, there's a line. Kyle Beckerman slander. Don't get me started. I'm not taking it. You know what? I want to end with a toast. I really, really do. I want to raise my camarena to all present in this room, watching along at home. I want to thank the magnificent city of Austin. It's such a joy to be with you. You are the greatest. You are just 1 million or so strong. But I will say that the sense of community here, the sense of the collective is so palpable as you walk around. Makes me feel like I'm in one of the biggest cities in this planet. There's a former Austinite, the wonderful, soulful Alejandro Escovedo, who sings, "Wasn't I always a friend to you?" And I'll just say Austin has always been a friend to those of us who love the beautiful game. Tomorrow night, thank you for this moment. We don't take it for granted being with you. We're going to get a drink with you all right now. Big, big love and courage. Mr. Clint Dempsey. Say it again.